If you know how to work with children, you will always get the best end product.
Because I believe that in those days, opening up a school would have been a very big task.
To not, we had, between the two of us, there was just 5,000 rupees.
Education is quite big now. It's a big business, but it was very different in your days. So how did you maintain the business part and also
8 by 8. That was the size of our living quarters. I said, I'm going to tour up because we are going to set up a school that is equal the.
do you think that discipline is very important in the society?
When there was a severe storm and our hatch structure collapsed and our tin sheets were blown everywhere.
During emergencies, you even drove the school bus?
A Garo came first to the title list for the first time.
I believe you are the first person who could do it from a private school that started from a scratch.
I would go in my car or my bike, wake the guy up. I'm giving you 10 minutes to get ready. We're going back to school.
So what was your routine when you started off? How long did you work during the day?
And Meghalaya has the highest dropout rate in the country.
Today, the education is very different. We have got opportunities, we have got money, we have got all the infrastructure. But then,
In fact, I believe when a teacher does not perform, that is a human right violation. We came up with certain suggestions and we submitted that report to the Chief Minister, the same Chief Minister. And today we are at the bottom. Even Bihar has done better than us.
isni kurang na sa kanti ko namsak sotaya. Dalwan sa maksa, wanda ka bagyastunga. Jian, tulsi kolachis kangaru ilsunari ipahatsam. Aro, school ko kuliah. Uni school, dalo Meghalaya ni. Kamchat bigaba, gam kata chachang plinga. Mayna uwa, uni kamchi, aru uni bumchapachi. An takpli toppers rangko, aro nam ka ba student rangko, unaha. Yan ad singni. Ad sekarang na, pa Garo Hills na. Rasong chanyo nga. Aro, dalo, ugada takaba manderang. Lungen kumian yan sang masya. Education sector 1, saksa master kita chachawa. Wasak sa Anglo-Indian. Aro, saksi, kulpo na misrang diri Wani gaman, ya podcast ko nga, English chi, tari na nangoga kinga ha. Sobarang may sijagin chumote himakabu, ande ba nga subtitle lo, saksi, unang skagin. Hayan chumuku, mandirabi, and saksona. Welcome to our studio set.
Thank you so much.
Sir, could you please share some bit of your personal history?
Thank you for inviting me to your studio, which I feel will have tremendous growth in a couple of years because this is the fastest growing medium. I grew up in a railway colony in Jamshedpur, where my father used to work trains. And I, as a young boy, was fascinated with railways because I would go with him on the locomotives. But anyway, we have different things happen in our life as we grow. And I was privileged to study at a Jesuit school called Loyola, Jamshedpur. After studying at Loyola, I moved to another Jesuit school called Dinobali in Dhanbad. When I finished my education there, I then moved to Mount Hermit College of Education, Darjeeling, in the early 80s. And Darjeeling was a wonderful place. And then I got my first break at St. Edmund's School, Shillong. This was in 1984. St. Edmund's, being a Christian Brothers school, beautiful school. I mean, it was really a beautiful school. I guess it still is a beautiful school. And I learned a lot over there. And then it was by chance I met the principal of Assam Rifles Public School, Shillong. And he told me, we can pay better than any school in Shillong. I was a young bachelor. I was 24. Money is an important factor for a bachelor. And I took the offer. At the Assam Rifles Public School, I met Mr. Bruce Meadow. Together, we came to Tura and we set up Sherwood School on the 5th of February 1986 in Wadanau, Sampalgiri, Wadanau. And that was the humble beginning of Sherwood School. Today, Sherwood School has grown in its stature. It's done well. And it's not because of one person, it's because of teamwork and synergy. Okay, so we had the trust of the parents. We had wonderful teachers. I presume there are still good teachers there. Children are beautiful. You just have to know how to work with children. And if you know how to work with children, you will always get the best end product. And over the years, I've seen it here in Tura. Excellent people have come out of Sherwood over the years. And I'm more than satisfied to see them all contributing to the growth of Garo society. Be it business people, be it doctors, lawyers, engineers in PWD, MSCB, irrigation, you name it. They are all doing well. And that gives me the greatest joy to see Sherwoodians contributing to the growth of Garo society. So then way back in 2022, Bruce, Pedro, and myself agreed to give it to the next generation. And his daughter came on board, Tasha Edo Sope, and my daughter came on board, Kimberly DeBras Movet. And I think they're doing a good job as well. And I just thought I was not old enough to retire. And I started a new venture called the Learning Sanctuary. And the Learning Sanctuary is an equally very fulfilling work that is happening. I've got good people, good staff. Children are beautiful wherever they are. You must know how to work with children. And the parents will always give it to you. If they trust you, that trust is to be built further. You cannot betray it. And that is the mantra of whether it was Sherwood School or now the Learning Sanctuary.
Please run us through how did you come up with the idea of opening a school, first of all? And second thing, choosing Garo Hills. Because I believe that in those days, opening up a school could have been a very big task and something which was maybe most probably not viable for business. So how did you?
In the summer of 1984, I had an aunt over here, Mrs. Cordell Sanma. So I'd come for a few days in the summer break. I was still in St. Edmunds then. And our children also were in St. Edmunds. Cosmos, Minion, these two boys were there, and Christopher. And then I moved around in Tura for a couple of days, meeting people. And then many of the people said, come to Tura. It was like an invitation. And they said, you come to Tura, we will work. We will work to set up a school. Because at that point in time, you only had missionary schools. Don Bosco, St. Xavier's, St. Mary's. These were Christian girls, Christian boys. So these were the main schools. So I went back to Shillong. And then I told Bruce, look, this is what I've gathered. There are a number of people who are keen that we set up a school in Tura. Believe it or not, we had, between the two of us, there was just 5,000 rupees. Okay? So with 5,000 rupees to come to Tura, we took a we took a building on rent, a small building, which belonged to the Pale family.
Mm.
Of Waternath. They gave it to us on rent. And that was the first school building, come residence of his and mine. We had one little room, 8 by 8. That was the size of our living quarters. Okay? And the school began over there. And it was challenging. It was an Assam type structure. But every day was a productive day. We had about 50 odd children in the first year. And we had word of mouth was pretty powerful then, as it is still now. Many people came to join us because we were Anglo-Indian, right? That was our USBA. And many people came to join the school from the market, from Upper Chanmari, from Alotgri, from Bonepa. So we had a lot of people willing to come to us and see. And I must say, the two of us, along with the two teachers we had at that point of time, we gave our best. And over the years, it continued. There was no let up on giving our best. There was no let up. And that was the best part about it, because we said, I remember when I left Shillong in December of 85, I told some Khasi people over there, they said, why Tura? I said, I'm going to Tura because we are going to set up a school that is equal to the quality of education in Shillong. That was my let's say, challenge. I said, we will be as good as you guys, if not better. And we added. And the thing is, with that in mind, we delivered.
Did you face any kind of challenges, like kind of stopping or kind of going back?
There was never a doubt in our minds, that's Bruce's mind and my mind, that we would ever throw in the towel. It was never. I remember one year, it must have been in the early 90s, when there was a severe storm and our thatch structure collapsed and our tin sheets were blown everywhere. We shut the school down for a week. We regathered our tin.
That is in the new
building.
Okay.
Yes. That was in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And we got back our tin sheets, we put them back, we reconstructed whatever we could, and we said we have to do something. We need to build a Pakpa building, an RCC building. We had no money, but self-belief. And I went to the market and I told Mr. Raha, who had a brick factory then, I said, I need about 5 trucks of bricks. Okay? I'll pay you next year in March. Okay, he said, I'll give you. Then I went to another guy who had cement. And I said, I'll pay you. That time cement was a lot cheaper. And so I'll pay you in March next year. Then I went to Mr. Lobor Singh from Ringrigitam. He's still alive. Okay. And I told him, I said, I need rods. And he said, you take. I know you will pay me. I didn't tell him I will pay you. He said, I know you will pay me. I said, I can't pay you now. I'll pay you in March next year. Said, take it. You pay me when you can. And that is how that whole building came up on credits. So that was the goodwill the school had generated in a very short while. This was hardly 7-8 years, and that gave me an opportunity to, to work harder, to dedicate myself, including Bruce, to give it back to the community, because they trusted 2 young bachelors, and the rest is history.
Sir, I heard that during emergencies, you even drove the school bus?
Yes, I did. I did drive the bus a couple of times. You see, We have hardly 220 working days a year on an average. And in those days we have two buses. And if a child cannot come to school because of the bus, it is the fault of the administration. Okay? So when the driver got sick, and our driver was from St. Mary's area, he was an elderly person. He was a good man. And he would then give me information. I'm sick today, I can't come. No problem. I had a motorbike then. I would take my bike to school, get the handyman on, let's go. And we would go to Dobasi Para. That was the rules. Go to Dobasi Para, pick up the children. And the children loved it. To be driven to school with the headmaster being the driver. And I mean, I say this, work is worship. Okay? And children should never be absent from school because of a thing like that. So if the driver is sick, no problem. I'm still driving buses. I've driven even my learning sanctuary bus. Okay? Because my driver got sick suddenly, it's okay. So children love the idea, okay, we are being driven to school by someone we trust.
So, sir, now you have created so much of toppers, but then it could have been very challenging during early days, because I believe that education and being toppers were expected only from missionary schools. And I believe you are the first person to do it from a private school that started from a scratch. So how have you done it?
I use the word synergy. Okay. We had synergy. I presume it is still there in Sherwood. Teachers were equally motivated. Okay. And the children, the numbers were small then. I remember it was 1999. 1999 SSLC results. We got the first scientific alloy.
Yeah.
And for the first time, a Garo came first to the tribal list. For the first time. Otherwise, tribal list was always with a Hasi.
Yes.
Melissa R. Marak came first in the tribal list, and even she figured also in the general list. So we had a total of 9 children, okay, in both the lists, which was tremendous with Garo, of course. And I used to visit at least 3 homes a day after school. I would take my motorbike, and I loved my old motorbike. It was a ESD. Yeah. And I would go to the KG house or a class 10 house. But every day I would visit 3 homes and build a rapport with that home. Get to know the mother, the father, maybe the Ambi, the Achu, whoever might be in the house. Get to know them. Understand the situation at home, because no house is perfect. Okay? But you do the best you can with each family. And then in school, work with the teacher, and the children were told, every day counts. You don't say, I'll start tomorrow. You start today. All right? Another thing we introduced in our school was the daily newspaper. At that time, we had only the Shillong Times. And so I would come to school. I would always come to school 15, 20 minutes earlier. I'm sitting in the class with the children coming, and they were eager for news, to know what's happening in Meghalaya, in India, in the world, in sports, science, you name it. They were eager. And they would sit with me in the classroom, and I would read and explain. And this is how we picked up the reading habit, reading a newspaper. Subsequently, whenever there was a quiz, inter-school quiz, the Sherwood children would come first. Whether it was in Doordarshan or it was a quiz, let's say, in some inter-school activity, the Sherwood children would come first, because they knew what was happening in the world. And it started with a humble Shillong thanks.
Now, you have maintained a great discipline. I have, because my wife is also a Sherwood product, so I know quite a lot about Sherwood, and I also happen to have seen Sherwood School from my early days, early childhood, so I know how it was. So, sir, the journey was very long. You have created toppers after toppers, but then, do you think that discipline is very important in the society as of now?
It's paramount. Discipline is paramount. When you have a disciplined child coming from a disciplined home, it starts over there. Discipline starts at home. We take it forward. We reinforce it. So when you have a disciplined child coming from a disciplined home, it is very easy to move forward because the child is coming from a home where the mother and father know the importance of discipline. Go to bed on time. Okay? Wake up in time. Prepare and go to school. You got an exam coming up, you prepare. You don't pray only to God. You pray to God. Perfectly all right. But you put in the effort. And so the children were told, when you are told to do a certain thing, because as an elder, you would know little more. And so you can guide. So when you guide a disciplined child, the results are going to be good. You cannot fail with discipline. Discipline will always lead to real fruits of your labor.
Education is quite big now. It's a big business, but it was very different in your days. So how did you maintain the business part and also provide excellence in the educational field?
Like I have said earlier, Bruce Bedell and myself, along with teachers, we told them we cannot kill parents with high fees. We cannot. Okay? And Tura is not as making as much money as Shillong. Okay? That's why the fee structure in Shillong is much higher. So I said, we're going to take a fee where it is sustainable for everybody, and I will give you a sustainable salary, but you give me 100% work. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you are here because you love children. You are not here to get a pay packet. They were told that. Give 100% of the children and everything is fine. Okay? And so, with that being very clear, that we are not here for the money part. We are here to give quality education. And so the teachers understood that. Parents also knew that my child has to go to school. You know, half our battle is won when we have regular attendance. There were instances where I had a few children who would just not come to school sometimes. I would go in my car or my bike, wake the guy up. I'm giving you 10 minutes to get ready. We're going back to school. He never did it again. He never did it again. So we had a few cases where children would want to dodge class. But when your numbers are small, not too big, 40, 45 children per class, it's a good number. You know every child by that time. And it comes naturally if you love children. Because you know the child. And so you find a child missing. Yeah, he's missing. I'll find out. Go to the house. Still sleeping. 9 o'clock in the morning. Wake up. You have to go to school. And he'll never do it again.
So what was your routine when you started off? How long did you work during the day?
I would be ready by 6:30, just in case a driver fell sick. So the buses had to leave by 7 o'clock in the morning. So by 6:30, I would be ready for work. I had my own children. My big son, Sean, my daughter, Kimberly, who's now part of the school, and the young fellow who's running his own business. So I would be ready by 6:30. They would be ready roughly the same time. And if I got a call, today the driver's absent, okay. The driver's not absent, fine. Then I would take my children on the bike and go to school. And being in school was fun because I felt young. I felt young. I felt alive. We would play with them. We would play football and cricket, tug of war, basketball. You name any sport, we were there with them. And that made a beautiful bond between the teachers and the children.
You love education, you love to teach, you love children. I'll get to the society now. Today, the education is very different. We have got opportunities, we have got money, we have got all the infrastructure. But then, what is your take onto this education? How is it right now? Should it be the way it is right now, or should it be? It should have been much way ahead than this.
Meghalaya is lagging behind. If you look at SSLC results every year, 50% do not pass. Sometimes it's 51%, sometimes it's 49%. But it is shocking with such a small number, roughly 50,000, 51,000, do the exam. And of that, only 25% pass. So we have with 25%, 25,000 failing, which is roughly 50,000, 50% failing. It is shocking because then suddenly you have a very high dropout rate. And Meghalaya has the highest dropout rate in the country. 43% of Meghalaya teachers are untrained. And nothing much is being done, even today, 2024. Nothing much is being done to address this big issue that can make all the difference. Meghalaya is now going in for NCRT books. That's a good thing. But you cannot improve a system in silos. You have to improve a system completely. Address all the factors that are plaguing the system. So our system is books, untrained teachers. A whopping 43% of teachers in Meghalaya are untrained. And we don't have enough training colleges. We don't have. Tura's got 2. Yeah. That's all. We've got 3 in Shillong, 1 in Jowai. Okay? That's it. We don't have any online learning like Bengal has got. Okay? In fact, a number of people from Meghalaya are doing the B.Ed online, which is not the best. You will get a degree, but you will not be an effective teacher. That's what I'm saying. But Meghalaya is not even doing anything about that too. I'm sure it can be addressed if there is a will. If you look at infrastructure, it's in shambles. I have read some terrible stories, children sitting in classrooms with a leaking roof, or classes not being held because of too much of rain in the classroom. Untrained teachers, okay? The bare minimum is not there in a school, even government schools. Private schools, they try to do the best with their limited resources. But when it comes to government or government aided, there should be no excuses. In fact, I believe when a teacher does not perform, that is a human right violation. Yes, because you are failing to help a child to learn. And education is a human right that every child must get. And when a teacher does not do his job, either he's, not attending classes, taking unnecessary leave, then that is a human right violation, which needs to be taken up. You cannot have people getting a job merely for the sake of money, because you're dealing with the next generation. And if this generation gets lost, you've lost a future. We need to understand that. We cannot fall with the present generation who are in schools to let them get lost. We cannot do that. We have to be really serious about it and say every child must come out finishing his education. Otherwise, the dropout rate is going to keep rising. And with dropout rate, you have lack of skills. Lack of skills leads to unemployment. Unemployment leads to crime. If you look everywhere, crime is rising everywhere. And now we have a drug menace in Meghalaya. Not just Tura, but it's in Shillong, everywhere. Drug menace is there because of dropouts. No proper education. And it all starts from the junior class. How you bring them up?
If we unpick people of your caliber, I believe that if somebody or the education department or the government or whatever, any organization, they need to take up the education seriously, people like you should be consulted. Has there been any consultation?
In 2021, and there was a pathetic result from Garo Hills, even though the private schools did well in Garo Hills, it was overall picture was very poor. We had a meeting, a number of educationists had a meeting at Edinburgh in the Theological College. And we came up with certain suggestions and we submitted that report to the Chief Minister, the same Chief Minister, and to the then Education Minister. Unfortunately, nothing has come up. You see, so when the people concerned, the stakeholders, are finding ways how we can improve a system, but we don't even get an audience to meet him or the minister, and nothing is done to say, look, we understand, we're going to work on it, we're doing something. Nothing happens. Now the PGI, that's the Performance Grading Index, Meghalaya has come last. Arunachal Pradesh, which is equally a tribal state, has outperformed us. And if you look at all the tribal states, I think Meghalaya was one of the first to have Western education. And today we are at the bottom. Even Bihar has done better than us. So that is what has happened to education in the last 52 years. It's never been taken seriously. It's never.
So primary education is a problem. It's understood and accepted by everybody. I invited our Honorable Education Minister. I wanted to talk about all this. Unfortunately, he did not bring the details. And because of that, we talked only about politics. But then at the end of the day, I'm also a parent now, and there are plenty of parents who are very concerned about the society. Drugs, as you have said, unemployment, education in some parts of Garvils are worse than Tura, and in fact, not even par with uneducated society. So, do you really think that the primary and secondary education that we have right now, they are efficient, or are they trying to do something which is little positive or which gives some kind of hope for us?
From 1986, when I first came to this place, to now, there is more awareness about education. Okay, I'll give you a little story. There was a well-known family in Awakana. His son, who was studying in Don Bosco, he was in class 7, and he comes to my school in Sherwood, and he says, I want to study here. I said, yes, go bring your mother and father. No need. They need not worry. I said, no, they have to worry. It is you are their son. You cannot come here and say, I want to study here. Okay? He said, it's okay. I've also got my TC. I said, we got a TC. I said, but I'm not admitting you. You go home, bring your mother and father. They never came, and that was the end of it. So that was the level of, let's say, involvement. Then some parents knew what was happening, and today there is much more awareness and the parents' involvement in their children. That is the beauty about it. There is a transformation in education. At least I can see it. So that's positive. What is happening is where we are going. We are not addressing the situation completely. Untrained teachers is a bane because they are untrained, so they may mess it up. Okay, and teaching is a beautiful thing where you can make a child wonderful, or you can mess it up, and many children are getting messed up. Okay, so unless we address infrastructure, training of teachers, understanding that education is not just academics, but it's a lot more. Okay, we have to look at that. Once we look at it completely and we decide we must do something about it, we go. The best thing is, of course, then is more awareness and involvement.
In your ideal world, how do you see Garudians and what would be your wish?
You know, when I meet Malayalis, they tell me, we are God's country, God's own. And I say, I just bring in the other word in, and use the word, we are God's own country and the only country that allows nature to blossom. Okay? Garo Hills is so beautifully, it's got everything that a state should have. Okay? It's got its forests, it's got its streams, it's got wildlife, okay? It's got mountains, beautiful plains. It's got everything that any state would want. What we need to do is build up skills. Okay, if you take a walk to your ITI, there's nothing much to talk about. And that's the government. RVTI may be a little better. Okay? But by and large, if you look at any work going on in Garo Hills today, how many tribals are there? Very few. Because they don't have the skills. It's always the people from the plains coming to do carpentry, whitewashing, your plumbing, your wiring, your masonry work, your road construction, your bridge construction. It is all people from the plains. Now, why is it people from Tura are not getting the same jobs? Because they don't have the skills. So we need to address that. Okay? Now, NEP is trying to bring that in. But for NEP to succeed, you need money. Because there is vocational training in the new system. But for that to happen, you need money. And when you ask a question, we are spending less than 3%. India is spending less than 3% on education. So when you put that question to them, where's the money? Then they'll give you an answer in crores. But the crores do not add up to more than 3%. It's a very smart answer. Last year we spent so much money, this year we're spending so much more. And my question is, it does not add up to 3%. And ideally speaking, we should be spending at least 5%. Like a country like South Korea, where they focus on human resources. You know, and that's why today South Korea is such a progressive country. Highly disciplined country, because they know the importance of education. We haven't yet learned that. I'm talking about India as a whole. We haven't yet learned. We are just focused on passing exams. You look at the amount of malpractices that happen in an examination hall. I mean, it is shocking. And when we claim we are Vishwa Guru, we've got it wrong. So we have to build skill development. And you go to Australia. Up to class 10, everyone studies. Then 11 and 12, You move into the 11 and 12, and you can go there. And the fellows who are a little better will go to university. Everyone doesn't go to university. You see? So that's the way it should be. Here, on the other hand, everybody wants to go to college or go to the university. There's no need to go to university. You don't have to pay loans or get loans to go to a university. You get a skill, get a job, look after yourself. I know cases where people have borrowed so heavily to go to university, and right till their last working day, they're repaying that education loan. Whereas a guy who just did some skill development, he's happy, he's got his own home, he's got a car, he's married, he's got kids. It's fine. And he's contributed. We need to focus on that. And with so much building going on in Garo Hills, we need our own people to do that job. Why should we bring people from the plains?
So what projects are you in right now? You have got a new school. Any plans, future plans?
Yes, I've got the new school. It's called the Learning Sanctuary.
Yes.
I've got a big plot of land, okay, little beyond the Wasipara. I plan to set up a residential school. Yes, it will be co-ed, girls and boys. I all my life I was in a boarding school, so I know how boarding schools are run, and I studied with the best. The Jesuits are the best. I learned from them, and I'm going to take it forward, bring it here to Garo Hills to set up a good residential school. So that's my aim, because I know the end product of a Jesuit school is the best. You will have a wonderful human being, not just a boy or a girl, but a human being. Because when I was in school, we were working with lepers, and none of us got leprosy. We were not afraid of it. We did it because it was part of the Jesuit ethos. Okay? Everything happens if you work well with Jesus. And it worked that way. Same way with Sherwood School. Things happen because there was someone there. Jesus.
So, are you happy in Garo Hills now? Like, things like personally, you have achieved so much. You have got so many awards. You have got so many recognitions, and then you are still on a mission right now. So, will you be content with that, or would you like it to go further?
The day I hang my boots up, that's the end of any battle. Okay? So, the mere fact that you wake up in the morning, be grateful you're alive. A lot of people, it's their last sleep and they die next morning. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful. And the day has to be productive. And now with this new land that I've got, and I plan to set up a school, a boarding school, that's my new aim, my new mission. I'm giving myself about 5 years. I need to get the money. Because it's a big project. So I'm giving myself 5 years to have it ready and take it further. So, I mean, Garo Hills is good. What is worrying is climate change. And climate change will have drastic effects in a place like Garo Hills. And we need to keep that in mind. We need to keep our forests. We need to keep our streams. Okay? And the thing is, just keeping our forest or our streams good is not good enough. We need to keep the entire country has to keep its forests. The world has to keep its forests. Otherwise, climate change will bring about such disastrous results for the planet, not just us.
So, he is none other than Sir Tyrone Debras. He is somebody who is known as a maestro in schooling. somebody who has created a balance between business and education, somebody with a very, very big knowledge about society, person of great intelligence, and someone who is so motivated about the bright future of everybody. At the end of the day, this podcast is something where we try to highlight people like him, and similarly, those who have already made a difference in the society or who are about to make the same in the future. He's certainly somebody who is still making a difference to the society, and hopefully he'll still be building and creating fine men and women for us, Darus. I thank him for being here, and I hope to bring him again in the future and take guidance and also study along with him. Thank you for watching us. Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Very much.